here we go.
Rolling.
Patadas no se tiran. ¿Entiendes? ¡Hey! ¡No hagas eso! ¡No estoy tirando patadas! ¡Tuyo ahí! ¡El tuyo ahí!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner by submission in overtime, now on his way to Saturday's Eddie Bravo Invitational. He's the new Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico welterweight champion. It is Carlos Palmo.
Listen, you looked like the more aggressive, intense athlete all night to me. Even when you were over here on the sidelines, you were mean mugging whoever was standing over here. You had an aggression and an intensity that was different than everybody else.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this warm up. And Saturday, you're gonna get all of them good. You're gonna get all the cash, all the big names. And maybe you're gonna be the world champion in the EVI on Saturday.
I don't know who this guy, but I'm gonna smack this motherfucker out, you know that. For real. This motherfucker gonna be trying in the match, for real.
All right, big words from your Combat Jiu Jitsu Mexico champion. Give it up for your champion. Comedy show here tonight, 11 o'clock. Leonardo Joni, Chingo Bling, 11 o'clock back here in this.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raph Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen. Today, we have another special episode that is going to be previewing the big Medusa tournament that is happening. So in case you're confused, this might seem like a lot of information, and I know a lot of you have mentally moved on because it's December. I get it. We're all kind of there, but it's not Christmas just yet. You can't open up the presents just yet. Why is that? Well, that's because right now we're actually in the middle of Jiu Jitsu Overdose, which is happening over in Cancun, Mexico, and we're super stoked to hear all about it. But yesterday, there was a fantastic kickoff to 4 days worth of action that is taking place out there. The first day of action was so intense that if you missed anything, we'll bring you up to speed today. But I can tell you, just as a fan and a long-term guy who's been covering this sport, I can tell you that was about as fast as a presentation as I have ever seen. So we already started off in epic fashion, and we're super stoked that you're joining us. Hello. Thank you guys so much for tuning in right now. It has been a fantastic week kickoff, but today the coverage continues, and we're super stoked about that because if you guys have been paying attention to anything that's happening, not only was it interesting, not only was it spicy, but it also gave us kind of a preview of what we can hopefully expect for the next 2 days, which is high-paced action, intense competition, and, you know, like yesterday, one of the guys that won at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico #3, or Trace, he, you know, he had some choice words for Alan Sanchez. And Alan Sanchez is about as chill as they get. So it was kind of intense to watch that. What's up, Luis? But nonetheless, let's get into a few things first. I want to say a big shout out to Flying Avocado Cat. You might see it. It's over in this general region. It is floating right here. They are a proud sponsor of the Bullpen. We appreciate them for supporting us and allowing us to do the coverage that keeps you guys in the know of what's happening over in Cancun and much, much more. So we super, super appreciate them. And in case you don't know what Flying Avocado Cat is, because it is 3 different words that normally you wouldn't associate together, allow me to take a stab. It is a cryptocurrency from an advanced AI innovation. Flying Avocado Cat, where innovation of FAC meets the tradition of Jiu-Jitsu. Just support them. Don't ask questions. Nonetheless, if you want to catch more from them, you can head on over to jiu-jitsuoverdose.com and explore Flying Avocado Cat on X at Flying Avocado Cats today. All right, now that we got this kind of placed out, why don't we go directly to the board and kind of explain what exactly has been going on over the past, has it been 24 hours? It feels, yes, in the past 24 hours, why don't we go ahead and take ourselves to the board right now, and as you'll see right here, right from the top, yes, Jiu Jitsu Overdose Day 1 has started, and we have already seen the emergence of 2 major individuals. Now, there were some fun people who were competing yesterday, but the 2 who ended up winning were some intense individuals. So I'd like to give some shout outs to the 2 individuals who won, and I believe they were both the #1 seeds. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if you're in the know, you knew that these people would do well. The exact detain of how well, up for debate. But nonetheless, big shout outs to Mauricio Rios and Carlos Calvo, who had some intense action yesterday and were truly 2 of the best individuals that we have seen compete on this format in a while. Mauricio was able to get it done with 2 heel hooks and a armbar, if memory serves me right on this. He has a fantastic game. He had 0 problems, got all of his subs in regulation. So he will be competing on Sunday at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Now, Carlos brought a hard-nosed, aggressive kind of MMA style to the proceedings. He will be competing on EBI, thus the Alan Sanchez shout-out, which I still, like, to this moment, still generally confused. I know that there's like a great gamesmanship sort of element here, but it does beg the question. I mean, Alan's a very chill guy. I don't know if there's getting under his skin. So that might just be me. And in case you're wondering, yes, the UFC Fight Pass is set to go in probably the next 10-15 minutes. But until then, you're hanging with us, and then we'll send you directly to the action. But those were your 2 winners yesterday, and big shout outs to them. I would like to say I expect big things, but the problem is, if you've looked at the other competitors on this tournament, they are in for some steep competition. Not that they haven't faced it before, but there are some heavy hitters, and we'll get to previewing them over the next couple days. But for right now, why don't we go ahead and move to our next topic right now, which is going to be, let's see, if we advance this board, it looks like we're going to be going over to the major themes that we saw explored yesterday at Combat Jiu-Jitsu. So the weird part about this is, it was a Combat Jiu-Jitsu event. So you had one participant that goes to combat jiu-jitsu on Sunday and one participant that goes to EVI, which is without any form of strikes or slaps. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but it's very intriguing that they would have them do a combat entry. But nonetheless, you had two winners yesterday, so it was a 2 8-man tournament, and you had the lightweight and a welterweight. So one of the themes that I think I emerged, at least from the narratives that I could see yesterday, was fast-paced. Kids really want it. And I think the one thing that you will see about these folks who are fighting from Mexico, is the fact that they are so appreciative that they actually get some coverage. Like, they're stoked that they actually get the opportunity to go out there and compete. And I think that might have driven the action. It might have driven them to go out there and perform even better. And shout out to my man, TJ. TJ, you are killing it with BMAC. Continue doing great work, man. I hope all is going well. I saw it was incredibly windy out there, which made me incredibly concerned. So I hope all is tied down with sandbags and whatnot. But getting back to the major themes, we saw arm bars aplenty, which I did not exactly expect. You know, we're very used to rear naked chokes here, but I saw a nice plethora of arm bars, some rear naked chokes, and there was only really 2 matches that went to overtime yesterday. So if we're talking about major themes, we saw that they were effectively utilizing their time down there at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico Tres. So what I'm telling you guys is, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, go to Fight Pass after this event, after Medusa today. Go watch it. It is a brisk 2 hours. You might have chores to do, and you'll probably finish them probably after the event is already done. I know it takes me a while to clean up, so I'm just saying. All right, let's continue moving on right now to our next topic, which is one that I think is kind of important for those of you who are watching this presentation. You might be wondering to yourself, Raf, listen, man, I'm so confused. There's so much jiu-jitsu. What specifically is happening today? Don't worry, I got you on that too. Today, there is a very fun and intense competition, and it's going to follow a similar trajectory of what we've already seen. Today, we actually have the Medusa call that is happening. So the Medusa card, if you would allow me the honor, I will present that to you here on this page. And when you look at this, you'll see some familiar names and maybe some that you're not used to. But that is one of the beauties of doing the Combat Jiu-Jitsu week, is that you tend to find people who maybe you weren't as familiar with, and then you can become like Shaq and tell them, I was not familiar with your game. But today you will be, because yikes. If you have not seen some of these ladies compete, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So why don't we go ahead and actually, I'm going to drop this in right over here. Muted. Dean, do you have noise? Do you have sound right now? Hopefully you do. I don't know why it wasn't picking up there, but god damn it, that would have been a good segment. So let me get this straight. Have you guys literally been listening this whole time to no sound, or did it just happen when I went to this thing here? Dean, I appreciate you for letting us know. That could have been incredibly tragic the entire time had I been talking for... I mean, it is still kind of sad that I was talking for about a good 10 minutes and there was no sound. Fun story. Nonetheless, well, let's see here, because I can hear you now. Just walked in. Espionage. Thank you. I appreciate that. Got it. See? This is why we count on you guys, because sometimes I cannot proof it, because I have sound in my ears. But let's take a look real quick at UFC and see if they are about ready to go. We still have a couple little things to go, and it says not sure when you muted. That's you and me both. But nonetheless, UFC, this is going to be Medusa 6. So just to let you know, Espionage, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. They're in the middle of their package, it looks like, from yesterday. So we got a few more minutes before we get on over. So why don't we take this from the top? Let me make sure the people on the other one didn't have me muted as well. I think it's pretty impressive that I was on mute that whole time. I mean, I see it there. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, let's try this again. I was trying to do one-word associations for the ladies here on the bracket. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock, and I see TJ DeSantis welcoming Brandon McCatherine, who's not wearing an overcoat today, so I guess it's a little less chilly over there on that side. That's so sweet of you. Look at you, being a true sweetheart here. All right, so the exercise we're doing for this one is one-word association. So that means right now, I'm going to go down the list. I'm going to use one word. I'm going to try and get this all done in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. There is 16 names here, so it might take me a second, but I'm going to barrage my way through it. It should be easy, but sometimes when you have to kind of come up with like one special word for each person, you get a little jumbly in the head. Nonetheless, you guys ready? 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Here we go. And go. Kaya Jackson, champ. Valerie Wong, disruptor. Randy Miley, solid. Paola Gutierrez, intense. Yasmin Martinez, beast. Liz Tracy, savage. Lauren Sears, experienced. Yashira Malayas, uncertain. Aislinn O'Connell, consistent. Carrie Isom, possible. Cholena Horn, new. Katie Bocek, I already used that word. Maybe. I wanted to say spoiler, but I thought I already used spoiler. Go back and check the tape on that one. Jade Rabolo. Watch. No, I already used watch. Fun. Sarah Wilson, family. Correspondent here on the show. Zara Cousins. Gritty. And Amy Derwans. Powerful. There you go. One word associations for each of the ladies who will be on here, and they are just about to go. So why don't we do this? We're going to go now to a segment that is referred to as comedy. So I don't know if you know this, but when these things are all said and done, they actually have a comedy show in the same venue. So at the same venue this is all going down at, which is intense. They do the combat jiu-jitsu. They do all these jiu-jitsu matches. And at the very end of the day, they're like, you know what you need? Comedy. Seminars I get. Comedy, slightly confused by. But nonetheless, I thought I'd take this moment right now. It looks like they're about to start the action. Kaya Jackson's about to take the stage. What I can tell you is this. If I were to pick any comedian to come down there who could possibly do a set at a Jiu Jitsu Overdose event, I think I would pick somebody like, Shane Gillis has actually talked crap about jiu-jitsu. Would be fun to see him come do this because I've seen Joe Rogan beat him up a little bit. So I feel like that's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh man, I'd love to see Will Burr or Bill Burr come do this. That would be awesome. And it's like, dude, that's fine. He's an awesome comedian. Probably one of the best out there right now. Having said that, we should really take vengeance upon other athletes or comedians that have said that jiu-jitsu doesn't work. So let's specifically bring those people to this event because I feel like that's the best use of our time. So you could do him. You could also do, oh God, there's a couple nerd comedians that we could do this to. I'd like to see Ralph Barbosa. He's pretty funny. I enjoy him. And I think it's always good to get somebody that's like a little bit out of pocket that's just good times. So Gabriel Iglesias, like, I think he loves fighting enough where at the very least, the person on the sidelines could be narrating your roles pretty funny. And it says, I think Brad Williams would be a solid comedian for a tournament. Now, mind you, espionage, this is not to put them in the tournament per se. This is more so that they can be there as part of shenanigans and festivities. But I like where your head's at. So thank you for that. But yes, Brad Williams would actually be really, really fun. But I think those are my people. I think Fluffy would be fun. Because at the very least, Fluffy would have the kind of enthusiasm that Gabriel Iglesias would be like, oh man, look at this. You pass guards so well, man. And then he would have a really funny take on it. A+. Those are the people you want to keep around for... 4 days? Because if you've ever been on a cruise, it's been ages since I have been. I was on cruises as a kid. If you're stuck with those people, you want them to be a good hang. Like, legitimately. So, they're that. And finally, people, as we move on to really the last element of the board, it's time for this week's low light highlight. You probably have already seen this. But if you haven't, perhaps this is some kind of breaking news. So I would tell you guys this. This is, I think, an unfortunate byproduct of the system and the system being IBJJF. But nonetheless, let's take a look at what happened yesterday in the usually non-controversial Blue Belt division. So as you see here, what looks like a Russian dude kind of gets into it with Pat Downey. There was a lot of talk about if Pat Downey should be allowed to compete in the Blue Belt division, and maybe we learned maybe he shouldn't, just because he starts with the prayer sleep hands, so he puts them over to the side to let somebody know, I guess his opponent, that he ain't shit. So that's unfortunate, and I do get that. But then they go from this little weird moment to then the guy trying to swing on him. So this is kind of weird. Why would you swing on him here? And then, I mean, to his credit, Downey at least evades the punches, but this doesn't look good for anybody. The kick doesn't look good. I think the Russian dude connects at one point, and it's just really odd. So I don't know how to phrase it. Now, the weird part to me is I'm not sure how to categorize it because it looks eerily familiar to me, and I'm not sure if it looks familiar to you guys. So let's look at it one more time just to see if it kind of strikes a memory here for anybody else. But if you look at the fighting, the specific fighting style, just everybody take a look at the bobbing and the weaving and tell me, perhaps you didn't get this exact same feel when you look back at this footage. Over here, you see Pat Downey as played by Jim Carrey. And, the movement's pretty similar. Honestly, it's got a nice little ring to it. It's a little shuck and jive here. Good protecting of the face. And, of course, when you slow it down, it is poetry in motion. So, really, if you didn't watch yesterday's IBJJF, and who did, especially for the Blue Belts, I think that kind of sums it up for you guys. As we move on to our gallery section here, I feel like this is a This is a weird thing to bring up, but yes, these are normally the components that we like to bring up here. And it says, yeah, I saw those two blue belts get all crazy yesterday. And it said Downey had just put the guy asleep. The other guy wakes up and starts talking shit. And then Pat does the bro, you were just asleep. So I didn't have the full context here. And I'm not sure this makes anything better, but I think it does make it somewhat more sympathetic in the sense that, like, he got beat and then Pat Downey did what I guess he was supposed to do. I don't know. I didn't have this context going into it. I just saw how hilarious to make fun of it because, I mean, it's kind of funny. Listen, if these guys have stuff happen on our watch here in jiu-jitsu, we got to roll with it. Again, you tell me if it didn't look like this. I'm just saying. Just take a look at it one more time, and you guys tell me if I am somehow off base here. But I feel this is right. Yeah, see, it's funny. There you go. The international sign for it is acceptable to do these jokes. Nonetheless, my friends, I guess what I would tell you is this. Yes, Medusa is going on right now. Kaya Jackson is actually interesting. Right now, I think she's actually working from bottom. And it is tough to ascertain, but we talked about the idea of saying that there could be a spoilage happening in the very first round. And I don't know how off or accurate our prediction is just yet, but it does not look like the champ is just walking through this match. If anything, she may have to dig deep because she is working from bottom of mount, and she does have her back in a particular case because she has a body triangle that she has to get out of here. And it does look like her opponent is trying to finish a head and arm choke. Nonetheless, that, my friends, is pretty much going to do it for our pre-show here today. Join us again tomorrow. We'll be back for more information. We'll fill you guys in on what's happening here on these shows. And we'll do kind of like maybe a recap of if you missed anything. We'll bring you up to speed. But as a reminder, tomorrow, the next installment of EBI, Original Crispy, the one we all know and love, it returns back to us. So super stoked to see that happening. Don't miss that one. And then on Sunday for the finale, there will be an installment of CJJ Worlds. And we've already seen two of those participants who are participating in those two events who will be plugged into day 1 and day 2. And that is going to be fascinating to watch because they were really good with their use of time yesterday. So anyways, gents, ladies, I think that's going to do it for us here at the show. Thank you so much for watching. And again, shout out to our sponsor, our beloved, what is this, Flying Avocado Cat. I always want to say the words out of order, so I have to actually look at them every single time. Thank you to Flying Avocado Cat for sponsoring this show and ensuring that you, fans of jiu-jitsu, get to see your favorite shows of jiu-jitsu talking about your jiu-jitsu athletes. Without their help, this just couldn't happen. So thank you for helping us. And for you guys, as a reminder, we'll be back for more pre-shows tomorrow and on Sunday. So please be on the lookout for that. I think that's going to do it for us here at home base. Ladies and gents, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And if I don't see you for the weekend because you got other stuff to do, all good. I think we'll be back on Monday with a brand new show. So on behalf of us here at the Bullpen, thanks for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.